Hey, so I guess for my first video, I'm making the really poor choice to completely improvise it. So, let's just see how this goes. I have been working over the past month and a half or so on what at first was just going to be Halloween decorations. And in the process of designing and creating and assembling them, well, they've become more than just decorations, right? So they've become real magic. I, for the last 15 years or so, have been kind of on and off with my witchcraft. And for the past 5-7 years, something like that, almost entirely off the witchcraft. But I've really been into witches in the last year or so, just sort of, fictional witches, and the aesthetic and things. I've just really been into that in the last year or so. And so for my Halloween decorations, I was thinking, we're going to do witchy stuff. Yeah. And then in that process, like I said, it just became more. It's really reawakened my real witchcraft. So I'm going to walk you through, in the next couple of videos, what I've done. This one is just going to be this introduction, and then we're going to look at the wreath that I made. I'm going to show you first the notes that I made back when this was all supposed to just be decorations. You're going to see a little bit more than just the wreath, but you'll see kind of what my original idea was, and then we'll take it from there. I'm going to switch the camera around. So here's my original notes for my Halloween decorations. I did this while at work one day. So you'll see jack-o'-lanterns, hanging things, but then the idea was to make a wreath out of various types of wards and protections. I was calling it the ward wreath at first, and really that's sort of still how I think of it. So the idea was various ward and protection items, and so then I made a list of stuff that may or may not work. Right, and there's my very rough sketch. The first thing I was going to do was use real ward things based on my knowledge of witchcraft from the past 15 years. But also I wanted it to be a little creepy, because again, at first this wasn't real magic, this was just decorations. And so I was thinking I would do like the Blair Witch stickmen. That's not what the Blair Witch stickmen looked like, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head, right? And I made a big list of stuff that I thought would be appropriate. This was my first set of notes. Here's my second set of notes that got mostly destroyed. You see, I added to the idea to make a besom. I'm not sure about that pronunciation. I had researched what the stick dolls were supposed to look like from Blair Witch, and was still working on the general idea of creepy pseudo-witchcraft, okay? Then what happened was, I'm just going to go and take you through. We're going to see the inside of the apartment. Then what happened was, as time passed and I started working on collecting and creating materials, it became something a little bit more. I abandoned the idea of using the Blair Witch stick dolls in favor of using runes, because they are actual magic, right? So I made some runes out of sticks and twine. And instead of that stick doll, I used algaes, which is, of course, a powerful protection rune. So there is the wreath. I'm going to walk you through it item by item and explain a little bit of what I did. All right, so I started with, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I started with, yeah, there it is. I started with just a really cheap grapevine wreath from a craft store. and I wrapped it with thorns, which I harvested from the woods behind my parents' house. Thorn, and wrapped the whole thing really thickly with bright green thorns for protection. Also from my parents' place is these cypress branches. All this green you see is cypress branches I harvested from again behind my parents' place. We have some magnolia leaves, and I don't know, are they magnolia fruits? Because magnolia is really personal to me. So we have that. Garlic, of course. Always been a powerful protector and ward. There's anguies. Originally it was going to dangle from the middle, but I decided I liked it better just poking out there. I have made sachets. Each one of these is filled with different stuff. The fabric was just some really, actually it was a white kitchen towel potato sack style, which I dyed using black beans from our dinner one night, and it became this really cool purple blue color. This one is, I think this is the salt. Yeah, that's right. This one's the salt. This one is rice. Salt, of course, that's an obvious protector. Rice, it's a little bit of a silly one, but there is that old superstition about vampires having to count every grain of rice. So that's a little bit of a silly one, but I included it. This has Arkansas grown bay laurel and I just forgot, bay laurel and what's the other one? Oh, sage. Bay laurel and sage. Which I dried myself. It smells phenomenal. It's very powerful. Up here, these are rusted nails, rusted iron. I have, for the last month or so, been rusting nails in this bowl outside. I have them there. I also bound more rusted nails in groups of 3 and have them hanging on the wreath. This one has rusted nails and also a little feather. Can you see the feather poking out there? Yeah, there it is. That feather just fell naturally straight from a bird or its nest into that bowl of rusting nails. And so I included it in one of these bundles. Also is some rosemary. This is a little mussel or clam or oyster shell, which I found in by the Arkansas River. I have a lot of these, but I went ahead and included one here to include some water element. There are a couple other things that are just really for decoration. This little stuff, these flowers, and this grass, oh, and these little twigs are really just strictly decoration. I scavenged those from my autumn wreath, which I had during the month of September before I turned it into the Halloween wreath, or the Samhain wreath. After I put all this together, I anointed it with magnolia oil and blessed it with some Arkansas River water. The only things that I actually purchased were the original grapevine wreath. I purchased the garlic. I bought the nails. A long time ago I bought the dishcloth that I use for these, but that was a long time ago, so that's really recycled. And I count the dye as being recycled as well. And all the pantry items were not bought specifically for this. So I really bought just 3 things, I think, all of which were very cheap. I don't know how much I spent on this, but it was not much at all. And you know what? I am very happy with it. I think it looks really dimensional, really creative. It's really personal to me. And you know what? I think it is strongly protective. I feel that this wreath is really going to do its job. So that is my Samhain wreath. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I am very happy with it. I think it's just beautiful, and you know what? I really feel that it's protective. So in my next video, I'll look at the other decorations that I've made and put together. For now, I wanted to thank you for watching, and happy Samhain.